Well, hi everybody. I'm here in Ashland, Oregon, and I'm happy to be here with you. This is a kind of an opportunity for me to share some time with you directly, thanks to the miracle of Facebook and the modern technology. It's really amazing how you can do this and just talk to people around the world. And I thought we would just have an opportunity now just to share with each other. You know, we don't have that kind of chance as often as I would like. Either I have to be there in person, or we have to find some other way to do it. But this is a wonderful way to do that. And I wanted to talk today about an interesting topic. But before I do that, the topic is gratitude. But before I do that, I'd like to find out who's here with me. I'm not sure I'm looking in the right place, so I'll see where I need to look to find out. Trying to look on my, I'm looking at Facebook while I'm here, sitting here talking to you. This is all very unrehearsed, very live. We're not trying to produce a program here. I'm just being with you, visiting with you. So, well, I'd like to see who's here with me for the moment. Find out if there's anything that I can chat with you about that you'd like me to talk about, as well as the topic that I've chosen for this particular live cast, which is great. Here we are. Now I see us. Okay. So you're welcome, Sue Bluebird. Thank you very much. I see that Denise is here from North Carolina, and Lori is here, and Ivana is here as well. So thank you guys for being with us. It's nice to have you with us. If anybody else wants to say hi, just jump on your Facebook page and post a comment. I have the comments right here in front of me on my computer screen, and I can see when you're talking to me, and I can interact with you directly right here, answer any questions you might have. If I can get to as many as possible, we'll do that, and also let you know about the topic for today we're going to be talking about, which is gratitude, and how we can use gratitude as a really important and powerful tool in our everyday lives. I wonder, do I have to refresh to see the new comments that come up, or do they just come up automatically? Because it's just a question I have, because I'm down to the four. I'm learning this technology, by the way, right here in front of you. Because I'm an old person. If I was like 16, I would understand all of this, but I'm not 16. I'm 73, still trying to figure out how it all works. So if you're out there in Faceland world, say hi to me, and we'll get to know each other. And in the meantime, I do want you to understand some things that I want to share with you today about a topic that's very close to my heart. I also want to tell you about a great event that's coming up in about a month or so, just a little over a month, that I'll be involved in. That'll be right here on the internet, and you can become a part of that event with me. So all of that's coming up here in the next few moments as we share this live telecast here on Facebook. Okay. So, hi from Canada. Now we see lots of comments coming in. Yes. Matt Cho says, hi Neil, it's a shame you couldn't make it to London. Because and I'm sorry that I can't be there as well, but that's just what's going on in life right now. And I'll tell you a little bit about that at the end of our time together as well.
So these are really cool. These are people that are liking and loving your posts and loving what you're saying and sending love to you along the way.
Okay.
And so...
So, I see. Now let's see what happened here. Okay. Well, hello from Missouri. I see. As new posts are, as new entries are posted, everything flips around and jumps up and down, and so you can't, in the middle of reading something, it's lost. That's how the technology works. I'm reading something here, and it goes away because somebody else has posted. So as each new post comes in, the post you were in the middle of reading pops up and disappears. So I'm trying to figure out how to keep one on the screen for more than 3 seconds as the new posters come in. your Charlene, you see what happens? It just goes away.
Yeah.
So hi from Cleveland Heights. Whoop, gone. Well, it was nice to talk to you here for a minute. And
so you can scroll back up like this if you need to.
Yes, but I don't know whether if they're all back up. That's how I get to it. It scrolls back up. See, what happens is as thousands of people start adding their comments, I lose the comment string because it pops up. So then I don't know. Yeah, okay. This is really interesting how to do this. I'm an old person. Okay. Anyway, thank you for all the nice things you're all saying, honestly. Aaron and Joanne, thank you both of you, and Tasim and Paul White, all these nice people coming in here to say hi. But I'd like to really respond to some of you, but I can't keep your comment on the screen more than about that fast, and it's gone. So that's how that works. Hope to see you in Vancouver, British Columbia. Well, I don't know when I'll ever get up there again. It might be another 6 or 8 months. Could be next year sometime. You never know. But it's a wonderful part of the world. I love it for sure. I've been there many times. Let's see here. Caroline, I love your spirit. Thank you very much. So what a sweet thing to say. Your voice is calming and your wisdom is great. I'm not sure about the wisdom part, but I appreciate your comment about my voice. And a note from just jumped up and disappeared, so I lost it. You know what? I'm gonna give up on this because I can't possibly keep your comment on the screen. It's just not possible to do that. Okay. Conversation with God is an amazing book. Thank you, Frank, very much, as well as the other two in the trilogy. Thank you very much. And there's news about that, by the way. We'll talk about that as well. News about the original trilogy, books 1, 2, and 3. I got something interesting to share with you about that later on in our time together today. So, all right, so here we are. I wanted to talk with you about a topic that I think it's important for us all to look at, and that's really why I wanted to be online with you here today. Next time, get someone to pick out important comments and read them out to you, Hannah says. Not a bad idea, Hannah. Not a bad idea. Sona says next time. Oh, that was Sona who said that. Okay. Hannah says these comments are hard to keep up with. Yes, Sona said that. Next time, get someone to pick out the most important ones. Let's see. Janelle says, love you, Neil. See you at Cleveland Heights, Ohio. By the way, congratulations to the Cleveland Indians, who enter the World Series tomorrow against the Chicago Cubs. That'll be fun to watch. All right. I'm scrolling down as we're talking to each other. I'm scrolling down here to see if there's a comment I could read from someone. But, whoop. Okay. Abigail Vasquez says, been a lifelong follower. Thank you for helping. Okay, I lost it. Okay, it's gone. It was nice to talk with you there for a couple of seconds. Thank you for helping me to learn how to live the best life I can. I'll tell you how to live the best life you can. Don't try to do a live event on Facebook. Okay, so anyway, here's what I really wanted to talk to you about today. There's a lot of challenge facing us in the world today, yes? We don't have to read the comments on Facebook to know that. It's just what's true. Tremendous challenge facing people of the world today. Individually, in our individual lives, I can attest to that. And globally as well in our collective experience on the planet. And Conversations with God tells us that there's a reason that life is happening the way it's happening. There's a reason for all of life, in fact. And so what I want to share with you today falls inside of that context, yes? So let me begin by talking about that context. the context within which all of life is expressed and experienced. There's a reason that life is showing up the way it's showing up, both individually and collectively. The purpose of life is to allow ourselves to experience and express who we really are. Conversations with God has made that very clear from the first book in the 9-book Conversations with God series, that the purpose of life is to give us an opportunity to demonstrate, to announce, to declare, to express, to fulfill, and to experience who we really are. And of course, who we really are, according to the Conversations with God material, is an individuation, an aspect of divinity. So we are told then that everything that happens in life, all the occurrences of our collective and individual experience, is part of a contextual field that produces the right and perfect people, places, and events, allowing us to experience, to demonstrate who we really are within the context of what is occurring in our exterior reality. So when we ask ourselves, why are these things happening? That is, why is what's occurring on the planet? The answer comes back, what is occurring as an opportunity to give us a field, a contextual field within which to express and experience any aspect of divinity that we wish to express and to experience, all so that we might know who we really are. Now, I asked God a very important question when I heard that comment, when I was given that wisdom. The question I asked is, must it be so hard? If my purpose in being here, if the purpose of human life is for us to express and experience divinity, and that we might know ourselves as an aspect of divinity, why must it be so hard? Why couldn't it have been easier? That's an important question to ask. It's a very fair question as well. And the answer is, it does not have to be difficult, but it wasn't intended to be necessarily difficult when we understand what's going on and why what's happening is happening. But it can be challenging. And challenging and difficult are two different things, yes? So what I was told in Conversations with God is life was not meant to be difficult, but it does offer us an opportunity to create challenges. And I was given a wonderful here in this book. This is a great book, by the way, called The Only Thing That Matters. And I love this book. If you haven't read this book, you really want to read it. It's just a marvelous, marvelous document that explains what I'm going to share with you here today. And in that book, we were given an analogy. We were given an example. As children, we might have enjoyed going to the amusement park and riding on the roller coaster. We were all very thrilled to be on the roller coaster. And it was even a little bit scary, and it was thrilling for us when we were 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. But when we got to be around 11, 12, and 13 years old, we were no longer happy with being on the little child's roller coaster. We wanted to be on the Big Dipper. So we went to the Big Dipper, the big roller coaster, the huge ride that they had at the amusement park for adults, yeah? So we go to the roller coaster, and we see everyone there screaming and hollering. I mean, they're frightened. They're screaming in terror. Oh my gosh, and they're yelling out. Nevertheless, as scary as it is, we find ourselves walking over to the ticket booth, and we actually buy a ticket to get on that ride. And we get on the ride voluntarily. That example is given to us in the book, The Only Thing That Matters, to demonstrate the experience and the expression of life that I want to share with you now. We are, as souls, continually seeking the next grandest idea, the next highest example, the next greatest expression of who we really are. And we will continue to create experiences in our life that allow us to go to the next level in experiencing and expressing our divinity. And part of that process could create emotional responses in us. Two that I'm familiar with are pain and sadness. Sadness and pain are two of the most common experiences, emotional experiences, and physical experiences. Pain, of course, can be not just emotional pain, but physical pain. So We know this. We know that sadness and pain are two emotional and physical experiences that we encounter in our journey through life. Yes? As part of the contextual field that is created that allows us to express and experience the totality of who we really are. There's also a third element called suffering, and I want to share with you today, and that's what the point of my telecast today is. I just wanted to share with you a bit about suffering, because I was told in conversations with God that life was not meant to include suffering at any level. Can you imagine that? The truth of life is that it was not intended to include, nor is it required to include suffering at any level. Sadness, yes. Pain, perhaps. Emotional and physical pain, perhaps. But not suffering. Suffering, I am told by conversations with God, is our decision, is the result of our decision, of our announcement that what's happening should not be happening, that it should not be occurring. And so we suffer, because suffering is a form of opposition. It means that we are opposing what is occurring and trying to stop it from occurring. So suffering is the response of human beings when they say no to what is now occurring, whatever it is. There have been contemporary masters, not just ancient masters like the Buddha and Christ and Muhammad and other great ancient masters, both male and female, but there have been contemporary masters as well. That is, people who are living and walking among us right now. They probably would never declare themselves to be in the same category of those masters I've just described, but they certainly do understand life at a very high level. I'm thinking of people like the lady who wrote Byron Katie, who wrote Loving What Is, and other masters who are Eckhart Tolle, who wrote The Power of Now, and the wonderful spiritual teacher Dafri John. They all say the same thing. They all say the same thing. In the face of life's most difficult, challenging, sad and painful moments, we are given the same advice from all of the contemporary and ancient masters. Don't resist it. Conversations with God says as well, what you resist persists. And what you look at, that is what you embrace and hold and bring into your reality and actually in a sense welcome, ceases to have its illusory form. That is, our suffering ends. Dafri John put this in 3 words. Dafri John, that great spiritual teacher, simply said, cease all againstness. Interesting phrase. Cease all againstness. Byron Katie puts it in her way, love what is. Or she puts it in one of her famous phrases, don't argue with life. Stop arguing with life. Just embrace and accept exactly what's going on. And as you embrace it and accept it, you begin to experience it in a whole different way. You begin to see its power to transform us and to bring us to a new experience of who we really are. Once we understand the power of life's events to bring us to a higher state of clarity about who we really are, we move to a brand new tool. And this is the tool I wanted to talk with you about today. The tool is gratitude. Now, the master, catch this because this is important. The student is the one who experiences gratitude after the fact. The master and the serious student, the one who's moving toward mastery quickly, is the one who embraces gratitude before an event or during an event, not after an event. And that's what I wanted to share with you today about gratitude. Gratitude is a very, very powerful tool It's a powerful tool to transform your experience, and when it's used before an event occurs, and by the way, most events can be predicted. You don't have to wonder what's going to happen. 95% of the events in your life you know are going to happen, and you can almost predict how they're going to go. And it's true that there are some events that are unpredictable, but they're very small number. And there are no interior events. That is, there are no feelings that are not predictable. You can pretty much decide that you can pretty much know how you're going to feel in the face of any human experience. So, if you're a master, a spiritual master makes a decision ahead of time to be grateful for everything that is going to occur. And the source of that gratitude, the reason that a spiritual master can feel gratitude and not just pretend to be grateful, but actually be grateful, is because a spiritual master understands the reason that life is presenting certain circumstances, situations, and events. And the reason those events are being presented to us, are being co-created by us, is to give us the right and perfect circumstances, allowing us to announce and declare, express and fulfill, become and experience who we really are. I want to give you a very simple example, almost a simplistic example, just so you can pick up on quickly what I'm saying, yes? Supposing you decide who you really are is the light, and you say, I am the light. Well, that's all very well and good. I am the light, and you can walk around saying that to yourself, I am the light, but yet what kind of meaning does it have? What does I am the light mean unless we have an experience of what it's like to be that? But here's the trick. You can't experience what it's like to be the light unless there is what? Darkness. So the minute you decide that you are the light, you will also, in that self-same moment, join with other souls to create a contextual field within which you can express and experience what it's like to actually be the light. And that contextual field, of course, will contain what you and I call darkness, because in the absence of darkness, you cannot be the light. Therefore, you will actually call the darkness forth, in a manner of speaking. And I'm giving you a very simple, if not to say simplistic, example of how life works. And the further along you continue on the path of your evolution, the higher will be the challenges that you set for yourself. Or to put it in simplistic terms, the darker it'll get. The more darkness will come, and so that you can be in an even brighter and brighter version of the light. When you see that this is what's happening, when you understand that this is exactly why events are occurring the way they are occurring, you will start being grateful for those events showing up in your life. You'll actually say, thank you, God. Thank you, God, for bringing me one more opportunity at the next highest level to announce and declare, express and fulfill, become and experience who I really am. Now, there's something quite remarkable about this, and I want to make this point before we start taking questions from all of you out there. And that point is this. When you begin to move into gratitude instead of resistance, when you replace resistance with welcoming gratitude for all the circumstances and events of your life, something changes in the energy field within which you are embracing the exterior reality. That is, the energy that is proceeding from you into the world is an energy of positivity as opposed to negativity, an energy of welcome as opposed to resistance. That energy has a salutary effect. It has a helpful and beneficial effect on the exterior experience itself, whatever that exterior experience might be. So you begin to shower the exterior experience with an energy that emanates from the highest part within you, and the effect then becomes circular. The sending out of gratitude, which is simply love announced in a particular way, love of life, love of God, love of yourself, it's just love announced in a particular way. The sending out of that level of love that shapes itself as gratitude, the sending out of that energy to the event that's occurring, whether it's a health circumstance, a physical event, maybe an automobile accident you've had, you've lost your job, a relationship is ending, or whatever it might be. I'm using negative examples because this is where it becomes challenging. The sending out of that energy of gratitude tends to shape and alter the exterior circumstance that's occurring right now in your life, such that miracles have been known to happen. Healings take place. That is, when I use the word healing, I mean the situation that for which you are grateful tends to reverse itself, or at least alter itself, and mitigate itself, moderate itself, modify itself, such that the negative effects of that exterior reality are no longer felt because they're no longer present at the self-same level. We reduce the level of negative energy coming toward us when we reduce the level of negative energy coming from us. This is a revolutionary way to use the tool of gratitude. And I have much more to say about this. I'm trying to pack as many aspects of this as I can here in just 20 or 30 minutes as we share this live cast on Facebook. But boy, there's a lot more to talk about on this experience of gratitude, and how we can use that experience to recontextualize the events and circumstances of our daily life. One of the greatest tools of personal spiritual transformation is the tool that I have come to call recontextualization. It's a big word in English. Recontextualization. That is, to take what's occurring in your exterior world and to reframe it, to see it in a different way, to totally recontextualize the experience that is presenting itself, the event, the circumstance that is presenting itself. And in recontextualizing that event, to then shift and change the way we are experiencing and the way we are affecting and the way we are impacting and changing the experience in our exterior reality. I want to share something with you that's important with regard to this as well. All of life is energy. We know that. All of life is energy. What we have not been told, however, is that energy, the experience that we call the energetic transfer of the fundamental essence of the universe, which is energy expressed. Energy is one of the few elements of life that impacts upon itself. That is, energy impacts upon energy in the process of energy's expression itself. So the energy that you transmit affects the energy that is being sent to you by any exterior situation or circumstance. And as I said a minute ago, the effect then becomes circular. All spiritual masters understand this. They call there's an organization called the Rosicrucians which talk about this in specific terms. They talk about it as alchemy, the alchemy of the universe, or the alchemical interaction of the energetic particles that are coming toward you and then from you, going back toward the energy which is coming toward you, then from you, and we begin, and that's called transformation. We begin to affect and impact the world around us, including the event with which we experience ourselves being assailed. We are being assailed by this event, and yet we are turning it around such that the event ultimately becomes clearly serving of the agenda of us. The greatest example I can give you, if you want a real-life example, Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela, as most of us remember and know, was put into prison in South Africa. I think he was in prison for something like 27 years. It was a very long time. And it was one of the worst things that anyone could have imagined happening to them, being imprisoned for almost 30 years of your life, for really not committing any horrible, terrible, terrible, serious crime, but simply for standing up for what you thought was right, yes? But Nelson Mandela determined from his first day in prison that he would experience his imprisonment in a totally different way, in a way other than the way his imprisoners wanted him to experience it. The government, those in power when he was put into prison, wanted him to feel punished, and severely curtailed and reduced in his ability to enjoy any aspect of life. And Nelson Mandela simply refused to experience it in that way. He did what you might call, in philosophical terms, he made the best of it. He did more than make the best of it. He made the best of even those people who were imprisoning him. He became, during his time in prison, what amounted to the unofficial prison counselor. He worked with other prisoners, ultimately guards, and those who were watching over him, who were guarding him, those who were supposed to be punishing him, came to him as well for advice. He was for advice and for counsel, for insight and for understanding with regard to the problems of their life. They would come to his cell in the evening and ask him, Mr. Mandela, could you help me? I'm having a problem in my marriage, or I'm having a problem with my health, or whatever the problem was. And Nelson Mandela would sit there with them and really give them back to themselves and give them their own life back. And he was so beloved by the other prisoners and by his guards, by those who were imprisoning him, that when he was finally released after 27 years, it is said that the guards and the warden wept that they lost their best friend. Now that's a real life example, in case you think I'm sharing with you experiences and expressions of life that the average person cannot possibly demonstrate in their own life. The truth is that average, ordinary people, Nelson Mandela was an ordinary person like you and me, but he rose to greatness when the aspects of life and the elements outside of him were greatly opposing him, and he simply chose not to send it the energy that it was sending him. And by so doing, he reversed the energy field and shifted the experience itself. That's a real life example of what I'm saying to you. So I wanted to just share that with you. I don't have as much time as I wish I had today to go further, but I wanted you to know that gratitude is a very, very, very powerful device. You can learn more about this in the Conversations with God books, as well as in that book, The Only Thing That Matters. A very, very powerful teaching book. One of the most powerful teaching books I ever had the privilege and the honor to produce. But today I wanted to share with you that because I get a lot of questions about that. Now, here are some comments from Facebook here. Diana Castaldini wrote, when you have developed several painful and debilitating illnesses, yes, I'll read that again. When you've developed several painful and debilitating illnesses, and you're working so hard to get well with doctors, with your diet, with stress regulation, researching and so forth, but not getting any better, what do you suggest? She writes, it feels like I am totally out of control of my own body and my whole life. Well, it feels like you are totally out of control of your own body and your whole life, Diana, because you are. You are out of control in the physical human sense of your own body and your whole life. But let's imagine, and I have a story to tell you about my own life here in about 3 minutes that will put this all into context for you, because I want you to know that I'm being given an opportunity right now in my life to walk my talk, not just to share what Conversations with God has told me. But you asked me, what do I suggest when you don't seem to be getting any better? Maybe not getting any better is getting better. That is, metaphysically speaking, what if you were not supposed to get better? What if the opportunity here is for you to express and to experience who you really are in the face of not getting better? What if you are never going to really dramatically improve your physical condition? What if the point of not having your physical condition being improved is for you to announce that that's not who you are, that you are not your physical condition? What if the whole point of not getting any better was for you to demonstrate that you are not your body, A great spiritual master once said to me a number of years ago, "You're not your body. You are that which has a body, but you are not your body." Supposing, therefore, that no matter how much pain or discomfort or debilitation your body is undergoing, it didn't matter. Supposing it didn't matter to who you really are. Supposing that, in fact, the opportunity to demonstrate that you are not that creates the perfect situation within which you can deny the negative impact of that exterior condition. And in the moment that you do that, in that moment you have used life in a way that it was originally intended, to express and to experience your true identity, your true interior identity. You are out of control of your body and of your whole life in the sense that your mind and your physicality, your physical body, can no longer control the interior experience that you are having. And so now you're going to have to rely on your soul. Now you're going to have to go to where the soul is and to say, if there was a reason at the level of soul for me to experiencing losing control of my body and of my life, my exterior life, what reason would that be? And I invite you to look at that question very closely and very carefully. Maybe it's to announce to yourself and to experience within yourself your true identity. I want to tell you something, Diana. When we do the thing that human beings call die, when human beings die, we move through an experience of transformation. You re-identify. Death is a process of re-identification. And we lose all sense of being a body or being a mind. And we suddenly come to our senses, in a sense. That is, we become very clear about who we really are. Some people do that before they physically die, when certain aspects of themselves, how would I put this, die off. When they lose control of their body, when they lose the ability to control the amount of pain or discomfort their body is in, and when they lose control at some level of their whole life. They begin to realize, oh, I'm not that. Oh, I get it. I'm not even that. And they start getting an understanding of what they are not. There is nothing more transformative in the life of human beings than to understand what you are not. Then you begin to truly understand what you really are. Now, the benefit of this, imagine the benefit that this would bring those around you. If you could bring to them an experience of who they are not, by allowing them to have a greater insight into who they really are, by observing the process that's going on with you. May I make this interesting observation? Wouldn't it be interesting if the whole purpose of your soul was to create a context within which you could become the teacher and the messenger for others, that you could save them from the discomfort and the suffering of the journey of self-realization, that they would not have to move through that process that you're moving through because you have chosen to move through it for them and to share with them what you've learned as a result of this process itself. Wouldn't it be interesting if that were the whole justification, the whole reason why you have allowed yourself to undergo this particular process? I want to suggest to you, as wild as that statement might seem to you, that I've just described to you in 3 or 4 sentences, the whole purpose for the experience of Christ. One of many spiritual masters who have walked the planet who did exactly what I'm now describing, suffered and died for us, and then rose again from the dead. That is, demonstrated that he was not his body, that he's not that. And he demonstrated it at such a high level that no one could miss the demonstration. Even if you don't believe in it, you couldn't have missed it in history. You have to acknowledge something happened there because the whole world knows about it, and the whole world has known about it for a couple of thousand years or more. And he's not the only person, by the way, who has made those kinds of enormous contributions to the evolutionary advancement of the human species. So I want you to notice that he did what he did for the exact same reason, if you choose to embrace this, that you're doing what you're doing. That is, you're accepting the suffering and the pain and the sadness, and then separating the suffering from the pain and sadness by shifting from suffering to gratitude, by saying, thank you, God, for this opportunity, that I could announce and declare who I am in spite of all that's occurring at my bodily level, in spite of all that's occurring in my physical and mental experience, that I determine that I am larger than that, other than that I am not that. And what a demonstration that would be if you only changed one person's life, if you only changed the mind of one other human being. You would have done something you would have done something with this and allowed something to emerge from this that could transform their whole life and yours as well. I know it's a very high thought. It's way up here, I understand, but give it some thought nonetheless, because I think that's what's going on. I think that's what's happening, and I want to honor you for what you have chosen as this particular portion of your path during life on earth. Jason writes, hi Neil, you said on a CWG article about hatred, that hatred can damage the body and can't be revered. Is there nothing at all you can heal? Is there nothing at all you can heal the body mind? I'm not quite sure I understand the wording of that question. But it's true that hatred can damage the body. That much I understand of what you've written here. Hatred can damage the body and can't be reversed, probably is what says can't be revered. I think you mean can't be reversed. I don't think that I ever said that hatred can't be reversed. If I did say that, I misspoke. But can hatred damage the body? Of course it can, because hatred is a negative energy expression that can have a negative impact on the totality, the total negative expression that is your body. So can hatred or any really negative expression damage the energetic field that comprises what you call your body? Absolutely. There's no question about that. But can that damage be reversed? I don't think there's any doubt that the damage can be reversed. In fact, that fast, the damage can be reversed. So anyone who says there's nothing at all that you can do to heal your body or your mind would in my view, would be inaccurate. I hope I never said that. I can't imagine that I said, or that Conversations with God ever said, that there's nothing that can be done to heal the body or the mind. That would be the opposite of the message of Conversations with God. Conversations with God, the message of Conversations with God is just the reverse of that. That you can heal the body and the mind instantly and reverse the energetic field, reverse the flow of energy from the negative to the positive on a moment's notice, instantaneously, by simply embracing and demonstrating who you really are and understanding the real and genuine purpose for all of life. So I'll be talking more about this, by the way, when we share with you in an upcoming event that I want to talk to you about on December 7th, in a little more than a month from now. We'll be sharing a wonderful event in which I want to talk to you about what we're now discussing here with Jason. Recontextualization is the tool with which you can reverse and can heal the body and the mind, just the opposite of what Jason is asking about here. But let me go to one more question here. We came from Sandra Marinkovic, and Sandra writes, hello Neil, I have a question. How does one choose to express themselves in every lifetime if the way in which they express themselves is inconsistent and constantly changing? How does one choose to express themselves in every lifetime if the way in which they express themselves is inconsistent and constantly changing? Interesting question, Sandra. And the question seems to suggest that somehow changing is not okay. That the idea of change is somehow a negative energetic signature, that we shouldn't be changing, that we should be remaining constant and consistent. In fact, just the opposite is true in my understanding. In fact, God said something very interesting to me, very, very interesting to me in the Conversations with God books. What God said to me was, there's one word in human vocabulary that more completely embraces and expresses the notion of what divinity is than any other word in human vocabulary. You're going to think, oh, the word is love. Actually, God said, no, it's a wonderful word, but that's not the word I had in mind. Okay, freedom. No, that's not the word I had in mind either. All right, strength or power. No, that's an important word. God certainly is, powerful, but that's not the word I had in mind. So finally I said, okay, what's the word? What's the word? The single word that more completely embraces the total notion of what God is than any other word in human language. You want to hear it? Here it comes. Change. God said to me in Conversations with God, wouldn't it be interesting if I was not a being, if I was not an individual entity, if what I was simply a process? And so came an important sentence, one of the most important sentences in the Conversations with God dialogue. God is a process, not an individual being. Although we can think of God as an individual being. God says, you want to think of me that way? Think of me that way. I can take that form as part of the process that I am. But what God wants us to know is that God really is a process. And that process, in a single word in human language, is called change. God is that which changes. And right there, Sandra, is the answer to your question. How can one choose to express oneself in every lifetime if the way in which we express ourselves is inconsistent and constantly changing? Because the nature of divinity is constantly changing and therefore inconsistent. But change is not a bad thing. Change is a good thing. Another way to describe change is growth. All of us are growing. A child grows by inches every day. You can measure it on a wall. And is that bad or is that good? See, growth is change, and change is expansion, and expansion is the nature of divinity itself. Constantly expanding, never remaining the same. So I want you to understand that if you choose to express divinity in your life, you can do so in every lifetime by embracing change, not resisting change, by embracing the so-called inconsistency of change, and by noticing that change is what gives you the opportunity to redefine, to recreate yourself anew in the next grandest version of the greatest vision ever you held about who you are. If you couldn't change, if life didn't give you the opportunity to change, you would be in a very serious situation. You'd be the same thing at all times and never, ever, ever have the opportunity to become the next, to grow, to become the next greatest version. You'd become, and by the way, I can tell you that as an eternal spiritual entity, you'd become very bored very quickly with that. You do not want to remain. See, it is inherent in the life experience. All of life inherently seeks to expand eternally, not expand to a finite point where after that expansion is no longer possible. But the beauty and the wonder of divinity is that divinity has the ability to expand eternally, to expand in a way that never stops, that never ends, that never terminates, that never reaches an upper limit. There is no upper limit to the expansion of God. Therefore, my friend, embrace change. Then take charge of the change. Decide that change is your friend and that you're going to change in the way that you decide that you want to change, that you're going to be inconsistent in a divine way, inconsistent in the way that you choose to be inconsistent. That is, you're not going to be tomorrow what you were yesterday, but even better than that. That's inconsistency at its best. I want to be better tomorrow than I was yesterday. People will say, well, you're being inconsistent. Yes, in fact, I am. And I choose to be inconsistent rather than to be insistent on being consistent with all the things that I am not. Got it? I want you to know that I'll be doing a marvelous event on the 7th of December. If you think this has been interesting and fun, I'm going to do a much longer event than this one on December 7th on the internet. And you can find a link in the comments section that will take you to a landing page for our December 7th event. You can sign up there, and the organization which is sponsoring that event, which is also, by the way, sponsoring this Facebook webcast, is called Divinity Live. Divinity Live is a new organization, relatively new in the world, just created in the past several months, as a means, as a platform of people in the world who wish to help extend the message of Conversations with God around the planet, so that it might touch lives everywhere in the world. And on December 7th, we're going to be presenting a special program where I will be discussing marvelous topics. The most meaningful topic will be the be, do, have paradigm. You know, guys, there's so much I want to discuss with you around the Conversation with God material and how to place it into the world in a way that starts to become functional and useful in your daily life. And on the 7th of December, I'm going to be sharing with you one of the most powerful of those topics, one of the most meaningful and all-encompassing of those topics. It's called what I call the be, do, have paradigm. If you don't understand what that means, look it up in Conversations with God, or join me on December 7th, and I will explain to you how we can shift the way we experience our day-to-day life. Most people think that life works like this. When I have what I need to have, I can then do what I need to do, and then I can finally be what I want to be. Happy, successful, secure, whatever. So most people think that that's how life works. I have to have the right stuff to do what I need to do to be what I really wish to be in life. And what Conversation with God told me is it's just the other way around. We have it reversed. It should really be, do, have. When I am being what I wish to be in the first instance, and then when I do what a person who is being that chooses to do, and would or automatically do if he really was being that, then I will have all the things in life that I have always wanted to have. And I'm not going to get into that in depth here, but I can tell you on December the 7th, I will go into that deeply to help you understand one of the most transformative explanations of the Conversations with God messages as it can be applied to your 9-to-5 life. So if you go to the comment section now, you'll see a link there which will show you how you can sign up for that event on December 7th. But by the way, they'll also email you a link to a couple of small little lectures that I've given as well. These are, you can have these for free. These are no cost. These lectures that I'm going to send you as a little gift are audio lectures that I've produced on two topics: forgiveness foregone and the topic of recontextualization. I talked a little bit about that here today. I'll talk much more about it in those two little lectures: forgiveness foregone and recontextualization. Two topics that I'll be discussing in two free lectures that are given to you as an absolute free gift from Divinity Live. If you go to their website, to go to their landing page and sign up there now for the December 7th event. By the way, that event on December 7th is going to be interactive. That is, it's going to be live, two-way interactive, where I can talk to you and you can talk to me. So we invite all of you to register now at our landing page and go over there and see if you can become part of our of our community of like-minded searchers and seekers on December 7th. This is very exciting to me. Let me just conclude with this. What Divinity Live has done for me is it's given me an opportunity, a platform, to talk to you live, interactively, as I've never had a chance to do before in quite this way. And by the way, they'll even have certain translations available. If enough people who speak a certain language, like let's say Russian or Japanese or any language, if enough people with a certain language as their native tongue, excuse me, if enough people sign up for participation in that event on December 7th, we'll make sure that it's translated in your language. Right now, it can be translated into, I think there are at least two languages, Hebrew and Italian. So we have enough people signed up already in Hebrew and Italian that the topic will be discussed, both in English and in Hebrew and in Italian. So go to the website. You'll see the link right there in the comments section. Sorry. And that will take you to a place where you can sign up, get your free gift of 2 free lectures, and prepare to join us on the 7th of December for this wonderful, wonderful program. I'm going to take a little drink of water if you don't mind right now, because I'm trying to stop this. That's better. Thank you. So, if you enjoyed this little brief interaction here, I want to tell you that what's going to happen on December 7th is this plus. A wonderful opportunity for us to interactively explore the Conversations with God material. And I'm looking now to see if there are any final comments that somebody may want to share with me, but I'm happy to have spent this. We've been together for almost an hour now, a little longer than I thought we would be, but it's been fun to be here with you, and I hope that you have enjoyed it. Follow the link in the comment section. You get 2 free lectures on Forgiveness Foregone and Recontextualization. I'm very excited to share that information with you, but more importantly, you have a chance to become part of the coterie, part of the worldwide community that will join me on December 7th for the first of what I hope will be many opportunities offered to us by Divinity Live on the internet for us to share these messages from Conversations with God as they have never been shared before. All the books I have written, all the lectures that I have presented, all the workshops that I have facilitated can never be as powerful as what's happening right now between you and me, live, interactively on the internet. This is what it was really meant to be like. And thanks to Divinity Live, we can share the beginnings of this whole new way of bringing the information of Conversations with God into your life and into the life of all those whose lives you touch. So we'll see you on the 7th of December. Until then, I'm Neil. Thanks for being here with us. This has been fun. See you next time.